Okay, a new documentary opened this week, which has caused a certain amount of heat. It's an alleged documentary by Ben Stein called Expelled. It's about the intelligent design controversy in the U.S. and how its followers are supposedly being persecuted by the academic world. Now, for the sake of fairness, I should point out that I haven't actually seen the movie yet. I simply haven't had the opportunity because it's not playing in my town. So what I'm going to address is admittedly secondhand, and while I did my best to research it, the fact is there's a good chance I'm going to screw something up. So if somebody knows something that I don't, please don't hesitate to let me know. Just fire me a message or leave me a comment, and I'll do my best to address it later on. Okay, on with the show. Even though the movie, like most documentaries, apparently tries to present itself as an unbiased look at a controversial issue, there's been a lot of really odd stories surrounding this one, making it sound like the filmmakers weren't even trying to have a serious debate. A lot of the scientists who were interviewed alleged that they were goaded into certain emotional reactions, and there's been reports of politically targeted screenings, namely towards procreationist churches and religious groups. It certainly doesn't help that every review I've come across for the movie describes it as a procreationist propaganda piece, except for those written specifically by Christian publications. As I said, I haven't seen the movie, but the way its content is described unfortunately doesn't surprise me much because I spend a lot of time getting into religious and political debates on issues like these. A lot of devout fanatics claim that even the scientific community questions evolution. The fact is, it doesn't. Unlike other touchy issues like, say, global warming, there is essentially a consensus across a wide range of scientific disciplines. Furthermore, evolution has been observed and tested, which is more than can be said for the idea that all of life was started by an invisible and undefinable deity. The reason why science often disregards the supernatural is because there's simply no way that we can even verify that it exists, much less analyze it. If this was really such a moral deal-breaker, even in the 21st century, then why is even the Catholic Church saying that evolution is compatible with the Bible? That's not the only way the filmmakers cite scientists. They frequently compare scientists to immoral atheists. Incidentally, as agnostic, I find that very insulting by itself. More importantly, though, it ignores not only that many scientists are quite religious, but that science and religion aren't even covering the same fields. You might as well be comparing football to darts. Oh, and I love how the filmmakers accuse scientists of not tolerating any idea that goes against the status quo, because, as we all know, there's no such thing as persecution and intolerance in religion. Finally, there's the most universally appalling statement made by this movie, that the study of evolution led to the brutal atrocities of people like Hitler and Stalin. I swear to God, I am not making that up. Please, give me a fucking break. I'm completely serious. Anyone who's bothered to take a high school history class would know that Hitler and Stalin were motivated mainly by a very extreme form of nationalism. It wasn't about survival of the fittest, it was about their worlds being the only ones that existed. Period. Comparing the study of animals in the wild to the evil of a genocidal maniac is not only extremely childish, but it's insulting as hell to anyone who lived through those experiences. Since Ben Stein is supposedly Jewish, one would think that he of all people would have a more mature perspective on the subject. Before I go, I'd just like to make my own views on this subject a little more clear. I personally believe that there is, or at least has been, some sort of creator that deliberately created all of life. However, I don't pretend to know how many creators there were, if they were male or female, if they are still alive, or what plan, if any, there has ever been for us. It could just be an elaborate Lego set for all I know. That doesn't mean that I've turned my back on God, simply that I'm not going to devote my life blindly to something just because somebody tells me to. In regards to the whole creationism/intelligent design debate, I think that school science classes should be left to teaching facts. There is a lot of scientific basis for evolution, but none for intelligent design. And simply put, God ought to be left to the churches. Enough said.